I had two little kids, and I thought, well, if I have my own business, I'm going to have way more flexibility and a lot more free time. And I did have more flexibility to bring the kids to work in the evening and on
Yeah.
weekends.
Yeah.
When you start and you're small, you can get away with not having that many systems in place. What it does is it just gives you peace of mind that you have a guide. My team is so important because I rely on them and I basically feel like I work for them. How can I help them be more successful? And the more successful they are, the more successful the company is. The difference between success and failure is a really like slippery slope. And there's
Mm.
so many ways you can go to business. If you love to do it, then keep going and keep trying and working on it because you will get there.
Hello and welcome to the Differentiation Podcast. My name is Michèle Sorgaroli and I'm your host. And today we are being joined by a very special guest, Laura Hansen. Laura is the president of the Image Group, a promotional products company that ranks in the top 3% of distributors in North America and is one of the top distributors in Canada. She is known as a leader who embodies genuine heart, curiosity, and purpose, and has spent 35 years helping organizations express who they are in meaningful ways. This focus on partnership has built a reputation of delivering superb results for clients who say they needed it yesterday. Today, she intentionally blends authenticity with business savvy, and that is what makes her leadership style so appreciated by her team, her clients, and her community. Laura, what a treat to be here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be fun. Okay, so first question, as you know, I'm looking back at your history and kind of taking a peek at what's online about you. And you studied French literature and now you're in promotional products.
Yes.
So, French literature, let's go back to university. What was it about French literature that captured your interest? And then we'll see where that takes us from there.
Well, I was always interested in French or in another language.
Okay.
So when I was in university, I had an opportunity to do my third year at Laval in
Oh,
Quebec City,
yeah.
which was so much fun. And I was able to learn French quite well. And I did, although once you have that knowledge, the professions you can go into are translation or teaching.
Hmm.
And I started to take translation, but you're mostly in books. You're translating documents. It's a lot
Ah,
of government work. So I was more of a people person. So I thought it was that profession wasn't really for me. And
mhm.
so I just went into a different path, doing different
Where
work.
and where did you end up after you finished and you decided that I'm a
I
people
started, I,
person? So,
I worked as a tour guide at Fort Rudd Hill in
oh my
Victoria.
gosh, oh my
I did
gosh.
that for a while, and then I got a job also in Victoria at Air Canada doing
Okay.
check-in, which was fun.
Yeah.
And so definitely working with people. And
Hmm.
then after that, I got into working with my mom. She had the flag shop, and I worked
Oh
in the
my
flag shop with
gosh.
her. And then
That was
with,
a staple here in Vancouver.
yes,
Long time
yes.
ago. I didn't realize
So,
that. Oh my gosh.
yes, so then I worked at the flag shop, and then also she did some regalia. So she did like crest and lapel pins and things like that that tied in with flags and banners. So I bought that very small division from her and
Okay.
worked in that.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
that's how it started. You worked alongside your mom with a different
Yes,
focus and then had this little micro niche inside that
yes.
business that you extracted.
Yes,
That's
and I learned
awesome.
so much from her because she had
Mm.
systems in place, how to write up your order, the order doc. And of course, this is all before computers, but we had, everything was paper-based and on the telephone a lot, calling
Yeah.
customers. But it was, a good background for me to get
Totally.
started.
Yeah, no kidding. So
Mhm.
what inspired, okay, so you were really a people person. I get that. And I'm hearing, the tour guide, you would have been using some of those language skills as well as you were, I'm sure, at Air Canada as
Yes.
well. Um, so what inspired you about this niche inside your mom's flagship company, if you will? What inspired you that that might be something you would like to
Well,
do?
what I thought is that I had two little kids, and
Oh,
I thought, well, if I have my own business, I'm going to have way more flexibility and a lot more free time. So that was my inspiration, and I I did have more flexibility to bring the kids to work in the evening and on
Yeah.
weekends.
Yeah. Bring the
And
kids
I
to
have an
work.
extra set of toys at the office, so they had different toys to play with when they were with
Oh,
me.
yeah. So you have a real appreciation of what it means to be an entrepreneurial mom.
Yes,
What
for
was
sure.
some of the things that stood out for you from that time?
From that time, I think we started off so small, and growing the company, there's ups and downs, in the economy,
Yeah.
and we had a couple of good clients, but then there was a recession that hit around 1990, 1991. And so some of our customers, we were selling to people like Fletcher Challenge, and they went back to, I think they were from Australia, New Zealand,
Mm.
and they pulled out of Canada. So we lost some clients, and then we just had, it was a bit of a struggle. And it
Yeah.
is in business in general, you have your ups and downs, and often based on the economy. So that was a big learning curve.
For sure. What I'm reflecting on here is the flag shop and
Yes,
having that. I'm curious about this piece because I would imagine growing up alongside your mom with her flag shop business, which
yes,
was international flags from all over the world.
yes.
I would imagine that must have been incredibly informative.
Yes, it was. I can still recognize flags from different countries.
Right. Did that inspire your interest in languages or travel or anything that, as you were growing up around that, I would imagine it would have an
Well,
influence.
yes, it did. And then also what it inspired, well, what I learned was that countries change flags more often than we think,
Oh my gosh.
because in certain countries there'll be changes of government and the flags will change. So there's updates all the time from different countries on what their flags were. And so staying on top of that was something as well.
Interesting. Yeah, no kidding. And was there any particular, I'm curious about this, was there any particular flag or country that stood out for you?
There were quite a few. I think what I found challenging was there's certain countries and the flags are so similar, and it was easy to get them mixed up, like Ireland. Ireland, well, there's a country, I think it's Romania, and because they're red, white, and green.
Yeah.
And so Italy is red, Ireland is orange, but they've got the same three stripes. And then, so you have to be really careful that you don't sell the person the wrong flag when you grab it out of the bin. So just
Yeah.
many countries were similar. Oh, and then dimensions of flags. Like Qatar's flag is like probably 1 to 4, and our Canada flag is 1 to 2 dimensions. So we would
Oh,
fashion
yeah.
all of our flags around our Canada flag 1 to 2
Right.
dimensions, but if you wanted the act, because we're going to fly them all together in a meeting or whatever, you'll put all the
Yeah.
flags together. So you want them to be all the same dimensions as the Canada flag. But then people would come from other countries and they want the dimensions of their country.
Right, of
So there
course.
was those challenges too.
Oh my gosh, that would have completely informed what you're doing today because you would have had to be so sensitive to the cultural differences. And I mean,
Yes.
in a sense, flags are a promotional product in a
Yes,
sense. You
they
got to get it
are.
right if you're going to
Yeah.
express that brand, the country,
Yes.
accurately, right?
Right.
And being highly, highly attuned to that. So very early on, you were already attuned to all of these nuances in a
Yes.
brand, if you will, right through
Yeah.
the country and its flag, which is
Yes.
a branding exercise in a sense.
Yeah.
That is
That's right.
fascinating. Um, isn't that fascinating? It's like because you were learning all of this. Now I'm hearing from you, and I've heard a few times actually in this conversation already. You mentioned systems. You know,
Yes.
what is it about systems that are so important, or what stands out for you there?
Well, I think that, it kind of as a when you're having have a business, you really need systems in place. So when you start and you're small, you can get away with not having that many systems in place. And but right away we had our order doc that we had when computers came, we
Hmm.
ch basically took our order doc and uploaded that system so that it
Hmm.
was similar and it checked all the boxes for when we're entering an order so we didn't miss anything. What color is the print going to be? Is it engraved or printed? Who's the supplier? So we had
Yeah.
all those. and that's what I got from my mom, and we put that in on the computer when computers came in. So, but as a small business, you don't need as many systems. But when when my company grew,
Yeah.
I brought in a consultant to help me with my job descriptions and
Mm.
just systems to how to like the sales manual
Yeah.
and things that I needed to have in place that were written down. So
Mm.
that was very beneficial.
And why, what was it that inspired you about that? Like what I'm thinking, like a lot of people will, I'm hearing that systems are are a more dominant theme for you. And for some people, there's sort of a back theme. For you, they seem
Yeah,
to be more of a dominant theme. And I'm curious
yeah.
about what that's serving.
Well, especially what it does is it just gives you peace of mind that you have something, a guide. And as you bring on people to your company, they've got that guide too. For example, the
Mm-hmm.
sales manual. How does Image Group sell?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we, what's our sales pipeline and how do we work through that? So that's beneficial. And then going forward, even HR, we a bit after that, we brought in another consultant to help us with safety in the workplace. So we did a course on that. And then we wrote our document about that as a company. So how would that, how do we
Mm-hmm.
operate and how do we protect one another and safeguard one
Mm-hmm.
another?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you would have again seen that would have been, I would imagine, again, an appreciation for systems is probably going back to the flag shop, right?
Yes, yes.
In a sense. It's
And I never thought of it that way, but I always respected that sales document that my mom had created because we carried it forward.
right, exactly. And I can only imagine, like you were a young woman at that point and learning all about the world and the nuances of all of this, as
Yeah.
each flag wasn't necessarily the same, although they were all a flag.
Yes.
Right? And so from the perspective of, of our own bubble, if you will, we see our stuff and we go, well, it's our flag, so every flag is probably the same dimension, for lack
Yeah.
of anything else. We know they're
Yeah.
different colors, but yeah, they're more or less the same dimension. And what you were attuned to very early is all the distinguishing features, whether it's the color or the shape or the size or what
Mhm.
have you, or the orientation of the lines, depending on the flag. But you were really attuned to all the different nuances very early on
Yes.
at a time that,
Yes.
probably I would imagine, informs everything that you do today.
I think so. I mean, everything, it's, as from the history of when I started in the business to today, I've got the same kind of um, wants and needs about the company. I wanted to have enough structure that it will be successful from that and that people have the comfort to just go out and do the business they need to do and the work they need to do. And there's a format we follow.
Yeah, the structure is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Coming back to working mom, you were probably thinking, what?
exactly.
How did you manage that time? So you now have a company, you've got two little kids, and you're embracing this concept of entrepreneurial freedom.
Well, what
Thinking,
I did was I brought in a sales rep, and then a bit after that, I brought in another sales rep. And then as we got busier, I had someone do bookkeeping for me part-time. And then I brought my husband in, and he worked with me in the business for a couple of years, which was great.
yeah.
But we were growing, so we weren't, it's funny because when we first got our books done, we couldn't afford an accountant, but we knew somebody who
Oh,
taught accounting at Langara College. So we had him do our books. And he said, Laura, technically you're bankrupt. And I said, no, we're not. We're going to carry on and we're going to be okay. So we just buckled down and we got more sales and the business grew.
wow.
And shortly after that, we merged with another couple who had a similar business to ours, and we were together for 4 years, and they were older than us, so they were looking for a buyout down the road, so we over time bought them out.
Oh,
And
wow.
then at the same time my husband went into a different line of work, into government work, and so then I was the sole partner in
Oh
the
my
company,
gosh.
just running it.
How might that, did you know when this accountant friend of yours, this professor, said to you, you're, technically bankrupt? Were you aware of that?
Well, we knew we didn't have much money. Let's put it that way. I mean, fortunately the economy was coming back and we
Mm,
could see business. We'd hired another rep so who had some clients and it just helped us move forward. And then we just buckled down and worked harder.
oh my
So,
gosh.
but my mom was saying, "Oh dear, you might have to come back and work at the flag shop." And that was like, well, I think I'm going to make it. We're going to be okay.
Oh,
So we just carried
right?
on
Oh
and
my gosh.
we were fortunate that it worked out. And we went when we were buying out our partners, we went to a bank that this was through Vancouver Executives. I was in that business group and the banker was as well. And he met with
Okay.
Colin and I and he said, I think you kids are going to make it. So he took our three
Oh,
mortgages and rolled them into one
oh
and
my
made it a
gosh.
bit bigger, more room, so we
Yeah.
had some money to work with. And it worked out.
And here we
So
are. And
over
it worked
time, but
out.
it
Yeah.
is a struggle and it's a risk, and you can see why so many businesses don't make it in that beginning stages because it can be tough to be get your feet on the ground and
Definitely.
move forward.
How did you handle that? You were working with your husband at the time, right?
It was actually good. We did different roles in the company. So we would come home at the end of the day and still exchange what we did during the day and catch up. So yeah, it worked out quite well.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of couples are not able to do that. So,
I know.
yeah, exactly.
I guess, well, we're fairly laid back, so it worked out.
Ah, that's awesome. All righty. So, as we launch into today in the image group today in the top 3% in North America of
Uh-huh.
distributors, amazing accomplishment. And as you think about what who you were 30 years ago running this, and what image group was, and what it is today, what do you think has been the biggest influence to your success or impact on?
I think the biggest influence, well, apart from my mother, who I started working with her, um, and working with my husband, who we had a lot of business ideas to
Mm,
share and exchange. And then also my team, the people that you work with. When we merged with the other partners, they had a good administrative team and it was stronger than ours. So that was
yeah.
really beneficial. And then together, our sales team was good. So every step along the way and the people you work with, we did learn a lot from our partners as well and
Hmm.
how the business practices they had.
Yeah.
And so everything helps, but I think my team is so important because I rely on them and I basically feel like I work for them to make sure that all the balls are in the air and everything's rolling along smoothly and that they can be successful.
Love that. You work for them. Can you go a little deeper with that? What do you mean when you say that? I mean, you said high level, but go a little deeper. What are you
Um,
trying to say there?
Well, they do report to me, obviously, for certain things,
Yeah.
but I look at how can I help them? How can I help them, especially the sales team? How can I help them be more successful? What can I do as a business owner? Maybe we can do some self promo, we can do outreach to clients, we can have a client event where they can bring their clients. So that's what I'm always looking at is what we can do to help them because my sales team works on commission. And the more successful they are, the more successful the company is.
Right. Yeah. So that focus on helping others be
Mhm.
successful is
Right.
the overarching theme that I'm hearing here.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Um, so being authentic, you have a reputation for being authentic and blending that and bringing that in. Was that something that you learned as to be an authentic leader, or was that something that did you learn it in the job now, doing what you're doing, or was that something that was just a part of who you were early
I think
on?
I think it is a part of who I am, but I think I learned a lot about it along the way. I saw how people, everybody wants to be valued. And
Mm-hmm.
so your internal people want to be valued and your clients want to be valued. So it's just, s- seeing the best in everybody. and trying to bring that out in the day to day.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's something I talk a lot about as well, is everyone wants to be valued,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
it's an interesting piece because I think I often say everyone wants to be valued and
Yeah.
everyone wants to be valuable, right? They
Yes.
want to feel valuable and they want to feel valued, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of it's an interesting feedback loop to
Yes.
create that where someone might feel that they might internally feel like they're being valuable and
Yes.
they may not get the feedback that tells them that they are valued
Yes.
by others, or they
Right.
might feel valued but not feel like their work is valuable, which is
Yes.
such an interesting dynamic between people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Where I do a lot of work on that with clients and try to help navigate that space of being valuable as a
Yeah.
personal experience and being valued as
Yes.
a partnership experience where you're getting that feedback loop. Where do you experience that in your team or with your clients?
Well, one thing I had to learn with myself and
Mm,
to be a better leader with my team and with my clients was to talk less. Because I'm a bit of a chatty Cathy. And so I remember Colin saying to me once, if you just stop talking, you'd let your customers get a word in edgewise. And it's really true. And so when I'm in meetings with my team or my clients, I make a point of listening and not talking, trying not to talk too much. I mean, at points when you're talking to your client, there's things you want to say to sort of help clarify what they're
yeah,
looking for or what their needs are. But at the same time, you want them to express themselves so that you
right.
can find out what they really want. And it's the
Yeah.
same with the team.
Right. Yeah. So the listening, so what I'm hearing is I get that, the chatty Cathy. Yeah, that's something I've been told. So listening, when you're talking about listening, the thing I heard there was you're sometimes, you want to listen and sometimes you need to talk to gain clarity, to understand
Yes,
what they want or what they
yes,
need. What do you think when you are listening? And when you are really engaged in a client issue, if you will, or
yes,
challenge or whatever it is they want,
yes.
what are you listening for?
You're listening for their tone, uh, the urgency, the way they talk. So sometimes if you have a fast talking person, you kind of want to come to that level and you don't want to be meandering around with your conversation. You want to step it up. If you have someone that is a slow talker, is a thinker while they're talking, and then maybe a slow talker,
Mm,
you want to maybe slow it down and be present where they are. So I learned that over time, and especially in the beginning when we didn't have computers and we were talking on the phone to our customers a lot,
mhm.
then we could find their tone and the way they, how they present themselves through their voice and try to emulate it a bit.
What was important about that in your relationships with them, Laura?
Well, I think they feel more heard if you're
Mm,
at the same pace they are.
mm.
And maybe if you're thinking, trying to uh, figure out what they're wanting, then you try to be at the same pace. So I think it makes them feel more comfortable.
Ultimately, yeah. That it's those comfortable conversations that really turn into
Yeah.
connection, don't they?
Yes.
So when you're listening for, it's curious, I haven't heard that before, so I loved hearing that tone, sense of urgency, and the way they talk. There's probably
Yes.
language in there as well, the type of the language or
Yes.
the patterns that they.
Yes. I mean, if they're speaking in simple language, you maybe don't want to say a whole bunch of big words. Not that I would know a bunch of big words, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because what you're doing there is you're interesting in what you said is it helps them feel like they've been seen,
Yes.
right? And helps them feel like they've been heard. Um, so when you're listening for that and creating that matching environment,
Hmm.
How does that help you create these outstanding results that you're so well known for?
I think it's just relationship building and the trust. If you work with people, um, that's what my sales team exudes
Mm,
as well when they work with their clients because they will work with them over and over again, and it's clients that have ongoing needs. So you build those relationships, and they become close to their clients, and
mm,
um, it's just valuable because in our industry, people can go online. You can go online and buy a coffee mug, but if you are busy, you
mm.
might just want to call somebody that you can count on and work with them, and then it's less stress for you. So that's where we come in.
Interesting. It's funny, you've nuanced something here. A lot of people think or have the impression that technology creates more efficiency. What
Yeah.
I just heard you say, though, is that when people are busy, they hop on the phone and it just gets done.
Yes. Yes.
So that seems to be more efficient.
Well, sometimes it is because you can say everything you want to say clearly, and it's often easier to interpret what people are saying through their tone of voice than on email, which is less sensitive. Although we try to make it more personable when we're talking on
Yeah,
email,
yeah.
but often things get sorted quickly over the phone.
Hmm. So you're still very much, am I hearing this accurately? You're still very much you rely heavily on the phone to
We
do,
do at the outset. Either
okay?
we will meet the client in person or we will talk on the phone. And then once we've established our relationship, it's fine to go we're on email a lot, actually, back and forth. But then we know how our client works a bit better and we understand what their needs are. So it's easier to be on the on the email or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Being a people person, it's probably totally okay for you to be talking on the phone, right? You're like, okay, good. The phone just rang. Yay for me.
I know, but I just try not to talk too much.
Right. I get to listen, but I still get to connect with people. So
Yeah.
and it's interesting because leadership impacts, right? It impacts
Yes.
how it's designed. And, being a people person who's focused on helping others be successful,
Hmm.
the phone and those long-term relationships and the nuances inside the relationships are
Hmm.
coming from a very authentic place. Is
Yes. Yes.
that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that's what we hope. That's
So
our
we hope.
goal.
Yeah, so it's as we look back, I often look at you're naturally a people person. So of course, even though you're in a business that could technically be fully automated or on technology platforms
Yes.
with chat boxes and email and
Yes.
forms and
Yes.
et cetera, you've actually maintained a social interaction. You also mentioned earlier events and whatever your clients need
Yes.
in order to succeed, right? Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because this is another component that I think is differentiating for your business.
Well, every client is different. So
Hmm.
some are getting products for day to day. They might just use them in their office or give them to their staff. They might be staff gifts. We also do recognition gifts. So if they've been with the company 5, 10, 15 years, we can put a selection of products together that they might want to give.
Mm.
In other cases, they might be doing recruitment. So they're in a trade show and they want little things to give away, maybe
Right.
small items to give away. But then
Hmm.
we'll always say, if you're in a trade show, if you can identify the clients you really want to meet, and if you can maybe even perhaps reach out to them ahead of time, then you can have other items that are maybe higher end items, just a few of them that you'll give to those people when you meet
Right.
with them because they're the ones they're that you are really hoping to connect with and do business with. So it's just different options.
It's really interesting. Something simple like a trade show, a lot of it, this is where you're nuancing the offer that I'm hearing that you do as the image group, where yes, they might want something for a trade show. And typically, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, but where I'm headed with this
Yes,
is that at a trade show, your client might
yes,
want one or two items of swag that would be mass distribution.
Yes.
What I heard from you is that in conversation with them, you're trying to help them be more strategic with their resources and also
Yes.
more strategic in their business development.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Um, well, even once for a client, what we did was, they they had certain potential clients they wanted to reach out to, and they were going into this trade show, and they
Hmm.
knew some of those potential clients would be there.
Hmm.
So what we did was we created something that they could send out, and I think it was um, an a coffee mug or something like that. And they sent it out to the client, the potential client, ahead of time, in advance of the show, and said, please come to our booth, and we've got the second mug for you when you come. So you'll have a set. And it's a great way to encourage people to attract their people they want to do business with.
That's really clever because it's also
Yeah.
differentiating you that client right away. So,
Yes.
right, that client now is already present before their target audience is going to the trade show.
Yes.
So they're already on the radar
Yes.
before anybody's ever gone. So massive differentiator
Yeah.
there. And secondly, like
Right.
you said, strategically smart because they're like, oh, I want the match. I want the
Or,
second one.
or if you just want to send it out by email, you could say, please come to our booth 456 or whatever it
Yeah,
is, and we have a special gift for you. And
right.
so you've identified those people, and when they arrive, you've got the gift for them.
Yeah. Now, does
So,
your team help with that strategic design?
yes. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
we
what
can.
I want to highlight that because you're like, yes, yes, we do. So it's really noticing how to use promotional products as not just a visibility tool, but
That's right.
really a differentiator and a business development tool.
That's
A
right.
lead generator was remarkable.
Yes, because we always say to our customers, if you can get your coffee mug with your name on the desk of your client, your potential client that you want to do business with, what is that worth to have your name on their desk?
Yeah.
So it seems like a small thing, but it's marketing. So
Hmm.
it's getting your name out there to the people that you want to reach
Hmm.
in a targeted way.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, that's the key in a targeted
Yes.
way. And I think
Yeah.
your industry has a lot of swag. There's a lot of swag out
Yeah.
there. And when a company stands out for their swag, what I'm
Mhm.
hearing is that there's a very good partnership with their swag supplier,
Yeah.
being, where there's someone helping them design what is the intention of this promotional product
Right.
beyond the obvious. How do we create
Yes.
something that will generate more from these
Yes.
resources?
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, I've also noticed on your website, you talk about not just value, but matching value with sustainable business practices. I
Yes.
saw, and also solid conscious pricing. I heard.
Yes.
So value being pricing plus sustainability is what I'm hearing. Conscious pricing plus sustainability.
Yes.
When did that blend or that partnership start to really show up for you? Was it from the very beginning, Laura, or did it happen late?
No, not from the beginning. In the beginning, there wasn't a lot of talk about sustainability,
Yeah.
but when I first got into the business, but in the last few years, yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more transparency of supply chains
Mm-hmm.
with our suppliers. And our suppliers, to be members of our association, must adopt certain must have certain sustainability efforts in place so that we know we can go to their website and
Mm-hmm.
find out what they're doing, or we can contact them and find out what they're doing. So we
Mm-hmm.
even pull together for certain clients who are interested in this, like which suppliers we prefer to use because of their sustainability measures that they take.
Yeah. And I would imagine again that there now again you're talking about clients wanting to match so that
Yes.
the promotional materials that they're putting out are
Yes.
representation, an accurate representation, not just of their brand,
Yes.
collateral, if you will, for lack of better language, but also their value system.
Exactly. And so even on the product itself, there's brands that are
Mm.
have a great story to tell. And so sometimes clients want that brand because they want the people they give it to, their employees or
Yeah.
whoever, to know that they've taken that effort to use that brand because that brand is doing these things
Yeah,
good, that are good in the world.
exactly. So, how do you, as a leader of a large team, relatively, how do you hold integrity internally around all of these different mandates for the image group for your company?
Well, our my team is educated on sourcing products and know that our main all of our suppliers that we work with also have transparent supply chains. And then in addition to that, we have taken some measures ourselves. So we have took the Climate Smart course back in 2016,
Oh,
and
mhm.
we started to compost and do more recycling before it was even that common. And
Mhm.
then we started to track our emissions, our GHG emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, and we for the last few years have been offsetting. So that way we can also show internally to our people and to our clients and our suppliers that we are part of hopefully part of the solution in our small way.
Mm, that's interesting. You made a comment, climate smart in 2016, before it was really a thing. So I'm hearing a lot of forward thinking from Laura in this conversation as you're thinking forward. And again, how can we be better aligned? This
Mhm.
seems to be the theme throughout. How can we be best or better aligned with our clients? How can we be
Yes,
better aligned in our community with
yes.
what they need? Um, as you think about your story over the last many years, how has the image group changed from, over the last 35 years or so? What have you
Mhm.
noticed has been one of the bigger differences
In
that
the
stands
beginning,
out?
we were just trying to survive. So we
Yeah.
weren't thinking about recycling or anything. And that was back when we first started in
Hmm.
1988, 1990. And then as the company got more on its feet and was a bit more successful, we thought, oh, what more can we do? We wanted to be more automated. So we we got an answering machine. We got a fax machine when they came out, and that was revolutionized the business. We didn't have to mail our orders or phone them through to our suppliers. We could just fax them. And then as we got more automated, we thought, what else can we do that would be beneficial? So that was when we looked and thought maybe we could do this climate smart course. And then after we did that, we started to track our emissions. And in the last couple of years, we did the through the United Way. We took the we wanted to be more sustainable, and
Mm.
so we took a course through the United Way to be an innovator and perhaps have a better social purpose. So we
Ah,
looked at that, and we've done that the first program through that.
nice. So just to summarize, like you said, everybody at the beginning is trying to survive and not go bankrupt.
Yes.
Right? Don't go bankrupt. I'm going to buckle down and make sure we survive.
That's right.
And then interestingly, the journey it's very common to go from survival, buckling down, and then to create some kind of systems, automations, efficiencies, things
Mhm.
that are really around margins and profitability, right? How do we
Yes.
get, and so the first questions we start asking tend to be around how do we make our business stronger,
Yes.
right? Then I heard, but what else can we do that's beneficial? Right?
Yes.
That was your question. Early on, it was what more can we do? The subtext of that is to make our business better, right? What
Yes.
can we do to make our business better? What more can we do? Then it's what else can we do that's beneficial, which was the next question you said, which I found
Yes.
really interesting because once we get to that point, right, we can start looking outward. How
Yes.
can we be more beneficial in a bigger way? And that's when you started getting into the climate smart
Yes.
and the emissions. Um, And that's really speaking to community and contribution to community and
Hmm.
starting to be aware of the our impact in a bigger way
Yes,
on, beyond just our work and our clients, if you will.
yes, yes.
Then you talked about purpose.
Hmm. Right.
And from there, okay, so how can we be more purposeful?
Yes.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, as I'm thinking about, I have a framework I call the value ladder that you may or may not be familiar with. The value ladder talks about at the basic level. Level one, I call your needs level. That's the survival level. Level two is what I call expectations, and it's really just making the business strong. How can
Hmm.
the business deliver consistently and repeatedly on the expectations of our clients so that we can continue to stay in business and do so
Right.
efficiency and, so all the stuff we
Yes.
talked about there. Level three really starts to get into more community oriented,
Yes.
thinking more about how do we, what segment or what part of the community do we belong to? So it's creating alignment in values. It's creating much more partnership and contribution to your clients, your community, and whatnot.
Yes.
Level four is purpose. It's where we start thinking about dreams and what kind of
Yes.
impact can we really have. So
Yes.
you're at this level with Image Group and the top companies in North America. I'd love to hear a little bit more of your purpose if you're willing to share.
Well, what we did when we took the course, they helped us a lot. It was about a 6 month course, and they helped us with questions. So we sent questions to our customers, to our inside people, and to our suppliers, and we asked them basically what did they think about us? How did they see us as a good company? What could we do better? And we got a lot of feedback, and from there we developed our social purpose. And so we want to obviously, climate change is important. It's a concern for us. That's why we took the Climate Smart course to start.
Mhm.
And we wanted to also give back in our community. Who's around in our community? We've got community centers, so can we donate products to an event they're having? And the community center in our area in Mount Pleasant, the Mount Pleasant Neighborhood House, they
Mm.
run a lot of programs for new parents and new immigrants to the area. So they've got a lot going on. So we went and met with them, and they took us through, and they have a daycare. They've got everything going on there. So we thought, how can we help you? Is there's any way we
Mm.
can be a benefit? And then there's other things that we can do in the community. There's causes around us that we can be helpful with. And also, some of the products, for example, we do Pink Shirt Day, and it's our only B2C, business to
Mhm.
consumer project we do. Everything else we do is B2B.
Mhm.
So at the end, there's t-shirts left over. So after a few years, it piles up and there's t-shirts left
Yeah.
over. So we found an organization that we could donate them to, and they will either send them to organizations that really need them, or they will repurpose them and make them into rags that they bundle and sell. And that's a not-for-profit organization. So it was really great to find out about these. And I actually
Yeah.
found out about that organization through a competitor because I called her and said, help me.
Partnerships,
Yeah.
right? So really, community is a big thing
Yes.
for the Image Group, and thinking about the partnerships that you have to
Mhm.
support beneficial and rewarding and meaningful impact. What
Yes.
I'm hearing. That's
Yes.
amazing. So let me ask you this. So Image Group is climbing what I call the value ladder of the four levels and starting to think about more beneficial impact at a community or bigger purpose level. How do you deal with that when you're dealing with your clients? Like how do you help them, if at all?
Well, with our clients, we can offer every client has different needs. So
Yeah.
if they're looking for made in Canada product, we can help them with that. If they're looking we've got a great supplier in Manitoba that does seeded paper. It's a women-owned business, and she does
Nice.
seeded paper. So what she does is she takes paper from schools and universities and she embeds the seeds in, and then she makes note paper and bookmarks and all different kinds of things.
Mhm.
So we can offer those kind of products, depending what they're looking for. And then also, if they feel they want to partner, hopefully, with a company that is doing some good in the community, like we are, like
Mm-hmm.
Image Group. So
Mm-hmm.
we're hoping they'll find an alliance with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed your energy lift quite a bit as you started talking about this. I can tell it's really important for you, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's something that, very often we see where there's some owners, business owners, are resistant to purpose and see it as another expense or distraction, that kind of thing. How has your purpose helped your business?
All of these things you do when you have time, and they do cost a bit of money. It does cost a bit. It
Mm-hmm.
costs to take the program. It costs to do some other aspects of it. But and then again, the climate smart, the offsetting emissions, it takes time and
Mm-hmm.
energy, and there's some expense to it. But it aligns you with people that you want to do business with. And so at the end of the day, you probably get more business because you're doing these things that are helping your community, and customers want to work with people like that. That's what we hope.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine you're seeing that,
Yes.
right? That's what
Yes.
we heard.
Yes.
Yeah. So it aligns you with the kind of people you want to do business with.
And also when we work on bigger projects that we have to do RFPs, requests for proposal, so it's a more of a
Yeah.
formalized relationship.
Right.
When we do that, we can say what we're doing. So we're hoping that they also too would like to align with companies like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's something, when the purpose, and we can hear it in your voice, when the purpose is genuine,
Hmm.
when it's truly coming from a place of goodness, wanting to help
Yes.
and heart,
Hmm.
whatever it is, I always say it doesn't matter what your purpose is, it only matters that you care about it.
Yes. But and I have to say though, at every step along the way, I mean, what you do, Michelle, people need that because at every stage, you need help in your company.
Mm,
You think you can do everything yourself, but you're not good at everything. That's one thing you learn. And so bringing in outside people with fresh
yeah.
eyes to look at your company and help you get to that next level, it's crucial.
Hmm. Well, big breakthroughs do happen when you're introduced to new thought patterns, new insights, new behaviors, things that maybe aren't even on your radar. And
Yes.
I'm in the business of big breakthroughs, so I hear what
Yeah.
you're saying. And it's interesting. Sometimes we see a lot. Purpose is such an interesting theme these days, especially in
Hmm.
business now,
Hmm.
particularly in difficult economic times
Yes.
where purpose can seem like it's an expense and a distraction
Hmm.
that a business doesn't have time for.
Yeah.
And yet, as you've already indicated, and for all of the clients I've worked with, when we hit on a purpose that's meaningful, like you said, you're aligning with a community that wants to do business with you. And
Yes.
not only do you generate a more aligned business, it's typically more profitable as well
Yes.
because of the nature of your relationship. There's less friction in that relationship, and there's less, difficulty because of mismatched values or what have you. Purpose can be
Yes.
really effective. I would imagine you see that once in a while with your clients too.
Yes, you do. And also there's clients that may not align with you,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's fine.
that's
So, I
fine.
mean, not everybody's going to want to buy from Image Group.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it's the way it is. So you look for clients that are a best fit as well.
absolutely. That's where some of that efficiency comes in. Oh my gosh. Okay. We could keep going for a while here. I've got so many more questions, but in the interest of time and respecting yours, um, as you think about your journey over the last many years, if you were to go back to when you're sitting in front of your bookkeeper, accountant friend who said you're essentially bankrupt, what advice today might you have for that younger self as you consider your journey, Laura?
I guess, I know the difference between success and failure is a really like slippery slope, and there's
Mm,
so many ways you can go to business in your journey. And so I guess I would say probably that I was grateful that I wasn't as, I just we just dug in our heels and kept going. And so
Yeah.
I think I would do the same today and keep trying because,
Mm,
even if the business didn't make it then, we could have started up again at another time or something
hmm.
slightly different business. And I think especially for entrepreneurs, if you love to do it, then keep going and keep trying and working on it because you will get there. You will
Right.
get there. And that's where outside people can help you, like the work that you do can say, well, maybe if you tweak this, it'll be more
Hmm.
successful.
Hmm.
Because sometimes we don't see it with our own eyes, and
Yeah.
someone outside can come in and help us visualize better.
Right. Yeah, that's very well said. If you love it, is what I heard.
Yes.
If you love it, keep going,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
might not have the right formula, or you might not have the right, direction or tools or whatever, but you're
Yeah.
on track. It's just you're just a little off track. But you're,
Yes.
you're doing the right thing. It's just
Mhm.
necessarily not necessarily doing it as it needs to be done for you to be successful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Hmm.
Right. And it might be something you just don't see, but someone else can help you see it.
Yeah, yeah. Partnerships are invaluable, and you've mentioned them a few times, and I really want to just honor that your partnerships, whether it was with your mom in the early days, and then your
Yeah.
husband joining your business, and then
Yeah.
your partners that you partnered with for four
Yes.
years, and then your team, and even
Yeah.
partnering with your clients.
Yes.
Partnerships have been such a huge part of your journey. So
Mhm.
just want to thank you for today. So Laura, for those who would like to know more about you and the Image Group, where might they be able to find you?
Well, our website is imagegroupinc.ca, and they can always call us. We're happy to talk on the phone.
Right? People like to talk on the phone. So if you want to
That's
get
right. That's
big
right.
business done strategically and whatnot, phone.
Yeah.
It's going to be more efficient. You're going to get better value. That's
That's
amazing.
right.
And are you active on LinkedIn or any other social platform
Yeah,
where,
we're on LinkedIn. It's Image Group Inc. on LinkedIn.
hey,
And we're also on Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, LinkedIn is a great tool as well.
perfect. All righty. We'll make sure that those links are available to everybody. And Laura, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us
Thanks so
today.
much, Michelle. It was great talking to
It
you.
was such a fun conversation. Bye for today.